Welcome to a deep dive that, well, it just might change how you think about one of the most classic tales ever told. Today, we're asking, what if the most famous phantom wasn't a ghost at all?
Right.
What if, as its author actually claimed, the Phantom of the Opera was a, flesh and blood man haunting the Paris Opera House?
It's a truly audacious claim, isn't it, for a story as iconic as Gaston Leroux's The Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's pretty much our mission today.
Yeah.
To follow Leroux's extraordinary assertion that his Gothic romance isn't fiction, but an actual documented truth.
That's a remarkable assertion, especially for a story so ingrained in popular culture as pure fantasy. How did Leroux even begin to prove such a thing? What was his method for digging up these so-called facts?
Well, Leroux doesn't really tiptoe around it. He opens his work with this direct challenge, stating the opera ghost really existed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right out there.
Right out there. He says, he was not, as was long believed, a creature of the imagination. Yes, he existed in flesh and blood, although he assumed the complete appearance of a real phantom.
Wow.
And he claims to have, ransacked the archives of the National Academy of Music. He even tracked down the examining magistrate for the Chagny case, M4.
Okay.
Who at first apparently just laughed at the whole idea.
Right, I bet he did. So he's treating it like a proper investigation, not just like background for a novel.
Exactly.
But if the magistrate was skeptical, who was the breakthrough witness for Leroux? Who convinced him?
The key, Leroux tells us, was a man known to all Paris as the Persian.
The Persian, okay.
This witness, who the magistrate apparently dismissed as a visionary initially, he was the one who provided Leroux with crucial proofs, including Christine Day's correspondence.
Letters, so like actual documents.
That's the claim. This is critical for Leroux's narrative because it establishes a kind of paper trail, lends it that air of authenticity.
Right, it's all about the evidence. So once Leroux had this key witness, how did this ghost first make his presence known in the opera house? What were those first whispers, those, scary stories?
The fear really started among the ballet girls, particularly after a gala performance marking the retirement of the managers, Debienne and Poligny.
Okay.
Little Jams, for instance, she was trembling as she recounted seeing him as plainly as I see you now.
Oh, wow.
And little Jerry, well, she was just very blunt about it, said, if that's a ghost, he's very ugly.
Very direct. And what did this ugly phantom actually look like? Was it just shadows, or did people get a clear view?
Oh, the descriptions became chillingly specific. Joseph Bouquet, who's a scene shifter, gave this really vivid account.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said, he is extraordinarily thin, and his dress coat hangs on a skeleton frame.
Okay, creepy.
His eyes are so deep that you can hardly see the fixed pupils. You just see two big black holes, as in a dead man's skull. His skin, which is stretched across his bones like a drumhead, is not white, but a nasty yellow. His nose is so little worth talking about that you can't see its side face. And the absence of that nose is a horrible thing to look at.
That is truly grotesque. It really strips away any romantic idea of a ghost, doesn't it? Grounds him in something very human, but deeply disturbing.
Exactly. It's meant to be unforgettable, visceral.
And beyond just looking terrifying, what kind of accidents started happening? Were they just like pranks, or did things get more serious?
Oh, they escalated dramatically. Joseph Bouquet, the man who gave that description.
Yeah, the scene shifter.
He was later found hanging in the third cellar under the stage between a farmhouse and a scene from the Roi de Lahore.
Oh, my God.
And what's really weird and unsettling is that the rope around his neck, it disappeared before they could cut him down.
It vanished. How?
Well, one of the new managers, Malchama, he dismissed it, called it natural suicide, suggested the ballet girls cut up the rope for, good luck charms.
Right, superstition.
But Leroux strongly implies something much darker, something intentional. Herrick's doing.
So not just creepy, but actually deadly. I also remember reading about the incident with the fiery head.
Ah, yes.
Seen by a fireman, Pampin, and the ballet girls immediately decided the ghost had several heads.
Exactly. It shows how fast fear turned into these wild, superstitious beliefs. It just built the whole legend of this ghost.
Absolutely. And the opera itself became his territory, didn't it? Like Box 5. Tell us about that.
Right. Box 5, it was crucial. It was never to be sold. Always reserved.
To the ghost.
Always empty, supposedly. Madame Giry, the box keeper, she was in charge of it. She never actually saw him, but she heard him.
Heard him? What did he sound like?
She described his voice as soft and kind. He'd ask for a footstool, for his lady, apparently.
A lady, but no one ever saw her.
Never saw or heard her, no.
And he paid. I read he actually left money.
He did. Get this, 2 francs, sometimes 5, even 10 francs, just left on the shelf. And sometimes a fan or flowers. It's this weirdly polite arrangement for a terrifying ghost, isn't it?
It really is. But that politeness came with a catch, right? The magic envelope with the monthly allowance.
Why, yes, the allowance.
What was that about? Why were the managers so freaked out by it? It wasn't just the money, was it?
No, not just the money. This magic envelope, it was one of Eric's first and maybe most effective ways of showing his power, asserting his will over the new management,
Sort of staking his claim.
Exactly. Demanding his due, signaling his control. It was definitely a sign of things to come, much more dramatic things.
So we've got Eric established as this master manipulator. He knows the opera inside out, uses its secrets. But his control wasn't just about money or scaring people, was it? It got personal. Deeply tangled up with Christine Day.
Christine Day, yes, she's central.
How did she come into this whole extraordinary story?
Well, Christine Day was described as a little Swedish singer, daughter of a peasant violinist. And she actually had this childhood connection to Raoul, the Vicomte de Chagny.
Yeah.
He apparently rescued her scarf from the sea when they were kids.
Oh, sweet.
Shared violin lessons, that sort of thing. But then, her sudden triumph in Faust, replacing the lead diva, Carlotta, it was huge, unprecedented.
And mysterious, right? How did she explain it?
That's the thing. She attributed her amazing progress to an angel of music.
An angel?
Yes, who she said gave her daily lessons in her dressing room. There was unseen music behind the wall. She even said she didn't know herself when she sang.
Wow. Okay, so Raoul, her childhood friend, he must have found this suspicious.
Absolutely. He saw her sudden success, and that this is key. He overheard a man's voice in her dressing room.
What did it say?
Christine, you must love me.
Ooh, okay.
He even spied on her, heard this really intimate exchange between her and this supposed angel.
So what did Christine eventually tell him? Did she admit it wasn't an angel?
Later, yeah.
Yeah.
At a place called Paros. She confessed to Raoul, totally terrified. She said, "It was he who said, 'You must love me.' But I then thought that I was the only one to hear his voice."
Oh.
Imagine my astonishment when you told me this morning that you could hear him too.
So she realized Raoul heard him too.
Exactly. And then she revealed the voice belonged to Eric, and that he represented this awful mystery on this earth. This is really where that supernatural idea starts to crack, Yeah. It points to a very real person behind the phantom mask.
And Eric's control, it clearly wasn't subtle. Carlotta, the diva Christine replaced, she started getting threatening letters.
Anonymous letters, yeah.
Yeah.
In red ink, threatening misfortune worse than death if she dared to sing again.
And Carlotta thought Christine sent them.
Ironically, yes.
Yeah?
She blamed Christine for a wicked plot.
It was Eric.
Oh.
And his response was dramatic.
Oh, absolutely. The infamous Coac incident during Faust.
The toad sound.
Exactly. Carlotta's voice just failed spectacularly, turned into this croak. And the managers, Richard and Moncharmin, they were actually in box 5 at the time.
No way.
Yes. They said they literally felt Eric's breath and heard his voice, this impossible voice, the mouthless voice, chuckling.
That's terrifying. A public humiliation, basically showing everyone who's boss.
Precisely. Asserting his absolute control over the opera.
And nothing showed that control quite like the chandelier incident.
Ah, the chandelier. The big one.
Causing killed and wounded. The police called it an accident, right? Wear and tear.
Officially, yes. Accidental death. But the managers, they were absolutely certain. They knew it was the ghost air.
Mm-hmm.
It was a terrifying spectacle.
And the money games continued too, didn't they? We mentioned the magic envelope, but how did he physically mess with the managers, that safety pin trick?
Right, the safety pin trick. Maram Guri explained it. Eric somehow manipulated her, maybe through suggestion, maybe threats, is not totally clear, to swap envelopes, and to slip money into Richard's coat pocket without him even noticing.
How is that even possible?
Well, LaRue suggests hidden access, maybe that trapdoor found later, but the effect. The managers became incredibly paranoid. They started doing bizarre things like walking backward everywhere.
Walking backward. Seriously?
Yes, and refusing to be touched by anyone. They were terrified of the ghost's magic, his unseen interference. He was basically using their own fear against them. Masterful psychological manipulation.
He sounds like a genius of torment, both mental and, well, practical. And then there was the horse, right?
Caesar.
Oh yeah, Caesar, the white horse from the opera.
Yeah.
The Profeta, stolen.
And seen being ridden by a black shadow down in the cellars.
Exactly. Eric wasn't just hiding. He was actively moving around, taking things, expanding his reign of terror into every single corner of the opera. Underground, backstage, everywhere.
So Raoul, he's determined to rescue Christine. He eventually goes down there into the cellars, right? Guided by the Persian.
He does. And Leroux really emphasizes the scale of this underground world. He describes it as having 5 levels.
5 levels below the stage. Yes, and large enough to hold a town. It's not just about size, though. It's the complexity. It's deliberately designed, almost, to allow someone like Eric to operate unseen.
A true labyrinth. And they found secret passages.
Oh, yes. Like the hidden mirror door in Christine's dressing room. You operate it with a spring.
Clever.
And an underground passage that apparently leads all the way out to Rue's scribe. Christine herself gave Raoul the key for that.
So how did Eric know all this? Was he just exploring?
This is where Leroux connects it back to Eric's past. He wasn't just some squatter who found these places. Eric had actually been a chief contractor for the opera's foundations.
A contractor. He helped build the place.
Exactly. And he apparently kept working there during construction delays, even during the war and the Paris Commune. That gave him the opportunity, Leroux claims, to build his own hidden dwelling, unknown to the rest of the earth.
Wow.
His command over walls, doors, and trapdoors was legendary. The Persian apparently called him the trapdoor lover back in his home country. He literally built his own kingdom down there.
He built his own maze. And he kept people out, right? They found the gas man drugged.
Yes, Montclair the gas man and his assistants. Drugged, incapacitated. And they encountered the door shutters.
Door shutters.
Old scene shifters, apparently. Their job was just to patrol and close doors constantly. They were essentially Eric's unwitting guards, keeping his domain secure.
Their journey down there sounds utterly terrifying. What were some of the worst things they faced?
Well, the encounters get progressively more horrifying. There's the famous rat catcher.
Oh, right. What was that exactly?
It appeared as a fiery face, but it came with this sound. A swarming, living, numerous sound.
Rats.
Hundreds of rats, which apparently climbed right up their legs, causing cries of horror, dismay, and pain. Eric was using the real grim parts of the opera's underbelly to create these absolute nightmares.
That's horrific. And then the lake. There's actually a lake under the Paris Opera.
There is, or at least a massive water tank, part of the foundations. Leroux describes these leaden waters lit by a strange bluey light.
And the siren.
Yeah, guardian of sorts. Her whispered singing was said to be fatal. The Persian apparently nearly died there.
How did he survive?
Saved only by what Eric called his silliest trick,
Mm-hmm.
a long, hollow reed, for breathing and singing underwater. A technique Eric supposedly learned from Tonkin pirates.
Ingenious. It's this bizarre mix of real-world mechanics and terrifying psychological games.
And it all leads to the ultimate horror. The torture chamber.
A mirror room.
Exactly. A 6-cornered room lined completely with mirrors, creating these disorienting palaces of illusion.
And this is where Eric used his inventions from his past.
Yes, his cruel devices from his time in Mazendran. Things like the iron tree for hangings,
Ugh.
the Punjab lasso, strangulation technique. The Persian actually believed Joseph Bouquet, the scene shifter found hanged.
Yeah.
He believed Bouquet was killed in this very chamber.
Chilling. So it wasn't just physical torture. It was mental, too, designed to break people.
Absolutely. The psychological torture was maybe even worse. He used optical illusions.
Like what?
An impenetrable forest appearing in mirrors. A mirage of an oasis with limpid water they could actually hear rippling.
Hear it. Wow.
Complete with iron trees. And then there was the rainstorm illusion. Created by a long and narrow box filled with stones that tumble down. Eric called that one the most pitiless torture of all.
It's incredibly disturbing, not just the cruelty, but the artistry behind it, the calculation.
Exactly. He wasn't just setting traps. He was designing these immersive nightmares, preying on the mind's deepest fears, blurring that line between physical pain and psychological terror. That's the real horror, and maybe the genius Leroux is trying to unmask here.
All stemming from a human mind, however disturbed, using architecture, using stagecraft, basically, to create hell on Earth.
Pretty much.
So this journey, this descent into hell, it culminates in Eric's final, terrifying ultimatum. Christine, Raoul, the Persian, they're trapped.
Completely trapped.
What was the impossible choice he gave Christine?
Eric presents her with 2 small bronze caskets. One has a scorpion on it, the other a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Highly. If she turned the scorpion, they would be married. And, crucially, hundreds of Parisians attending a performance upstairs would be saved from a massive explosion Eric had rigged.
An explosion. He'd blow up the opera house.
That was the threat. If she turned the grasshopper instead, everyone would die. The people upstairs, Christine, Raoul, the Persian, everyone.
My God. The wedding mass or the requiem mass?
That was his phrase for it, yes.
So what does she do?
In this incredible act of self-sacrifice, she chooses to save Raoul and the Persian. She turns the scorpion.
She agrees to marry him.
She agrees to be his living wife.
Yeah.
And this act, LaRue tells us, triggers the mechanism that floods the torture chamber with water.
Floods it. But wouldn't they drown?
Well, it soaks the gunpowder Eric had stored underneath, preventing the big explosion. Her devotion literally diffused his ultimate weapon.
Incredible. But what happened then to Raoul and the Persian? And what about Raoul's brother?
The Persian and Raoul are saved. Eric eventually releases them, has them delivered back to the surface. But Count Philippe de Chagny, Raoul's older brother, he's found dead. On the bank of the upper lake down below, Eric claims it was an accident, that Philippe fell into the lake near where the siren guarded.
But the Persian didn't believe that.
The Persian had no doubt Eric was responsible, another victim.
And Eric. What was his final act in this whole saga, according to LaRue?
His final act involves Christine's promise. See, Eric confessed to the Persian that he did let Raoul and Christine leave together.
He let them go, after all that.
Yes, but only after Christine promised she would return after his death to bury him. He gave her his plain gold ring to wear until that moment.
A promise. And a ring.
And then later, Eric sends Christine's personal things, papers, gloves, a shoe buckle, handkerchiefs to the Persian, with instructions to announce his death in the Epoch newspaper. It's like he's managing his own exit from the world stage, ensuring his story gets out.
Creating that link, that proof for the outside world. Which brings us back to LaRue himself, his final proofs. What physical evidence did he claim sealed the deal?
LaRue says he kept digging, years later, guided by the Persian, who was ill by then. He claims he found the secret passage of the communists,
right,
with the initials R and C carved on the walls, presumably for Raoul and Christine. Still there, he says.
Wow.
He also found that hollow column in box 5, big enough for 2 men. LaRue suggests that's where Eric hid, using ventriloquism to make his voice appear everywhere.
Explaining the mouthless voice and the money theft.
He claims they found a small trapdoor in the manager's office floor, positioned just right so a hand could dexterously fumble into a coat pocket hanging on a peg nearby.
So a physical explanation for the disappearing money. Clever. But the ultimate proof, the clincher for LaRue.
The ultimate proof, LaRue dramatically reveals, was the discovery of Eric's actual skeleton.
His skeleton? Found where?
During digging work in the opera's substructure years later. And how was it identified? By the plain gold ring still on its finger.
The ring he gave Christine.
Exactly. Yeah. Fulfilling her promise, LaRue claims. Cementing the truth of the entire story is this really poignant, maybe grotesque way to close the circle, blending the fantastic story with this very tangible, physical discovery.
And as we've kind of touched on throughout, the Paris Opera House itself, it's not just a setting, is it? It's practically a character. This incredible building started in 1861, finished in 1875. It was built for secrets, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The foundations alone were an engineering feat, exceptionally deep and strong. They hit water constantly during excavation, had to pump it out day and night for months.
And they left the underground lake or water tank.
Right. And LaRue points out how Eric exploited the construction, specifically the double-case wall built around the main structure, the tub, to keep it dry.
Yeah.
Eric supposedly built his hidden home within that gap.
Genius. And the sheer scale. You mentioned thousands of doors, thousands of keys.
Over 2,500 doors, nearly 7,600 keys. Think about that. And miles of gas pipes. Eric didn't just vanish. He could control the space. He knew every shortcut, every hidden access, every way to manipulate sound and light. LaRue uses these real architectural facts to ground the Phantom's seemingly impossible powers. It's not magic. It's engineering and intimate knowledge.
And the place was teeming with life, wasn't it? Not just performers.
No, it was a whole city, 70 to 100 stage carpenters, upholsterers, gasmen, firemen, even clackers.
The hired up the plotters.
Exactly.
Right.
Property men, dressers, hairdressers, extras, supers, choristers, musicians. A massive self-contained world.
And it had things you just wouldn't expect. Stables, downstairs.
Yep. Stables in the cellars for 12 trained horses with their own grooms, electricians for the early lighting systems, hydraulics experts for water effects and ballets like La Source.
Wow.
Artificers for fire effects like in La Profeta, even florists for the stage gardens. It really was this colossal, complex machine, a beast that could easily hide someone like Eric and even become a secret kingdom.
especially someone who helped build it.
Precisely. Eric is a chief contractor
Hmm.
working through the war and the commune. He knew its bones. He knew its secrets because he helped create them.
Yeah.
His architectural legacy wasn't just the visible parts of the opera. It was his hidden dwelling unknown to the rest of the earth, built by him, for him.
This deep dive, it really shows how a real place, a real building, can totally inspire and maybe even ground a fantastical story. It all comes back to Leroux's claim. The phantom was flesh and blood, a genius leveraging the building itself.
Hmm.
So we followed Leroux's, relentless pursuit of this truth behind the legend. We've uncovered a story where fact and fiction just seem to melt together, all amplified by this incredible, real building.
And you've seen now how the ghost's actions, through LaRue's lens at least, get explained away. Not as supernatural stuff, but as these ingenious, frankly terrifying tricks.
Yeah.
Pulled off by a man who knew the opera's secrets like no one else.
Yeah.
It really shows how deeply connected the art and the architecture of a place can be with the human dramas, the tragedies played out inside its walls.
Absolutely. And it kind of leaves us with this final provocative thought, doesn't it? If a building like the Paris Opera can hold such dark secrets known only to someone who truly understands its hidden depths, what other ghosts might be lurking, in the familiar buildings all around us, just waiting for someone to dare to look behind the mirrors and beyond the trapdoors